There is a moment in every human life that determines the difference between those who rise and those who remain the same. It is not talent. It is not luck. It is not timing or circumstance. It is belief. The belief that you can change. The belief that you can improve. The belief that you can become more than your current identity. Carol Dweck, the psychologist who popularized the growth versus fixed mindset framework, summed it up in one simple idea. The view you adopt for yourself determines everything. But here's the real truth that most people miss. A growth mindset does not begin with skill development. It does not begin with discipline. It does not begin with habits, environment, or goal setting. It begins with self-belief, the internal permission you give yourself to try, fail, learn, and grow. And in this video, we're going to dive deep into why self-belief is the birthplace of change, the foundation of growth, and the single most important mindset shift you'll ever make in life. Let's begin. Millions of people want to succeed. Very few genuinely believe they can. And that's the dividing line. A fixed mindset says, I'm not good at this. I've always been this way. Some people are just born talented. A growth mindset says, I can learn. I can improve. I can become capable. But here's the deeper layer. It doesn't matter if you know what a growth mindset is, if you don't believe that you can grow. This is why people stay stuck. They don't try because they fear failure. They don't improve because they avoid discomfort. They don't grow because they assume they can't. The world teaches people to believe you are fixed, this is who you are. But every legend in history, in business, sports, leadership, science, had one thing in common. They believed their potential was moldable, not static. Let me tell you a story that reveals this perfectly. Michael Jordan was famously cut from the varsity basketball team. Imagine if he believed that was permanent. Imagine if he said, I guess I'm not meant for this. But here's what he did instead. He turned failure into fuel. He turned rejection into motivation. He turned doubt into a reason to rise. Jordan once said, my greatest skill was being teachable. Think about that. Not speed, not height, not talent, not natural ability. Teachability. The belief that he could get better. That is the seed of a growth mindset. Most people think success starts with confidence. They're wrong. Success starts with permission. Permission for yourself to improve. Permission to show up without perfection. Permission to take the first step. Self-belief is not ego. It is not arrogance. It is the quiet voice inside saying, maybe I can. Let's go deeper. Most people were never taught to believe they could improve. They were taught to fear mistakes, to avoid embarrassment, that failure is a reflection of identity. School teaches us, you failed the test, therefore you are not smart. But here's the truth. Failure is feedback. Mistakes are learning. Setbacks are stepping stones. You weren't born afraid of trying. You learned that fear. You learned to doubt yourself. You learned that effort is risky. You learned that judgment feels unsafe. So here is the first major breakthrough. Self-doubt is not a personality trait. It's a learned limitation. And everything you learned, you can unlearn. There is a myth in society that people are born great. They were born gifted. They were born to succeed. They just got lucky. But here's what the science says. Almost nobody is born gifted. There is far more evidence that greatness comes from repetition, failure, adaptation, obsession, long-term practice. Mozart wasn't born a genius. He was trained by a father who was a master musician. He practiced longer and earlier than any child around him. Einstein struggled in school. He didn't speak full sentences until he was 4, and Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When a reporter asked, "Why did you fail so many times?" Edison replied, "I didn't fail. I found 10,000 ways that didn't work." That is growth mindset thinking. But the fuel behind it wasn't skill. It was belief. There are 3 types of belief every successful person has. 1. I believe change is possible. This is the foundation. If you don't believe growth is possible, you won't try. 2. I believe I can change. This is identity. This is personal responsibility. This is ownership. 3. I believe effort is worth it. This is where most people quit. They believe the work will not pay off. They expect instant results. But every transformation in life takes time. Every breakthrough requires patience. The world's most successful people all share the same mindset. I can improve, and the effort is worth it. Those 3 beliefs are the engine of growth. You know what holds most people back? Not fear, not talent, not intelligence, identity. We all carry a silent script. This is who I am. I'm not good at math. I'm not confident. I'm shy. I'm not a leader. I'm not creative. I'm not athletic. Where did these ideas come from? A teacher? A parent? A friend? Society? Somewhere in your life, someone told you who you are, and you accepted it. But here's the truth. Identity is not a fixed point. Identity is a decision. You either define who you are, or your past defines it for you. Growth begins when you break your old identity and say, I am capable of becoming someone new. That sentence alone can change your life. Let's bring in some neuroscience. For decades, scientists believed the brain was fixed. Once you reach adulthood, your brain stops changing. But then something groundbreaking was discovered: neuroplasticity. The brain can grow new connections. The brain can rewire. The brain can learn and improve, even late in life. Your brain reshapes itself based on repetition, learning, curiosity, challenges, which means you are not limited by your genetics. You are limited only by your willingness to adapt. Your mind is a muscle. Your mindset is moldable. You are not a finished product. And that leads us to a powerful truth. There is only one difference between people who succeed and people who don't. It's not talent. It's not intelligence. It's not discipline. It is this: successful people keep going. Others stop. And what allows someone to keep going? Self-belief. If you believe you can improve, you will keep trying. If you believe success is possible, you will endure the setbacks. Failure is not the end. Failure is a direction change. It is simply life saying, try again differently. Here is the growth mindset in a nutshell. Believe you can improve. Try. Fail. Learn. Adapt. Try again. Improve. It is a loop, a cycle, a repeatable formula. But do you know where that cycle breaks? Right at the beginning. People don't believe step number 1. They don't believe they can improve. This is why self-belief matters more than strategy, more than education, more than talent. Self-belief activates action. Action activates growth. Growth activates confidence. Confidence is a result of self-belief, not the other way around. Here is a powerful truth. Failure is not the opposite of success. Failure is part of success. Every story of success has the same structure. Failure, trial, setback, doubt, rejection, persistence, victory. Failure teaches what works, what doesn't, what you're missing, what to change. Failure is information. Failure is data. Failure is teacher. Most people interpret failure as, I am not good enough. But successful people interpret failure as, this is part of the process. And that's the difference. Society teaches us to worship talent and instant results, but research shows something different. The single greatest predictor of success is effort, not talent. Effort changes the brain. Effort creates skill. Effort builds mastery. The truth is, greatness is never instant. Musicians practice for years before performing. Athletes train thousands of hours before winning. Entrepreneurs fail countless times before succeeding. Effort is the gateway to growth, but effort only happens when you believe the effort is meaningful. And that's why self-belief always comes first. Comparison is poison to self-belief, because comparison says, you should already be there, you're behind, you're not good enough. But here's a truth most people forget. Everyone is in a different chapter. Everyone has a different starting point. Everyone has a different timeline. Life is not a race, it is a journey. Your only competition is who you were yesterday. You don't need to be the best, you just need to get better. That is growth mindset. People say, I'll believe in myself when I succeed, but that's backwards. You succeed when you believe in yourself. Motivation is not the starting point. Motivation is the result. Action leads to motivation. Progress leads to motivation. Growth leads to motivation. You don't wait to feel confident. You act first. Confidence comes from evidence, and evidence comes from effort. That is the growth mindset. The world underestimates the power of trying. Most people never try. Most people never start. Most people never take the first step. Why? Because trying makes failure possible. But here's the paradox. If you never try, you guarantee failure. Trying is courage. Trying is belief. Trying is growth. If you are willing to try, you are already ahead. Because trying means, I believe there is something worth pursuing. That is the true spirit of a growth mindset. We see the highlight reel, the viral moment, the sudden fame, the instant breakthrough, the $1 million idea, the success that seemed to appear from nowhere. But you don't see the years of failure, the invisible effort, the long nights, the setbacks, the battles, the doubt. People look at success like it's an event, but success is not an event. Success is a process. The greatest illusion in life is that successful people got there quickly. The truth is the opposite. Every overnight success was built on years of invisible belief. People gave up on their dreams because they believed it was too late, or they weren't capable, or they weren't ready. But growth doesn't happen overnight. Growth happens gradually. Growth happens slowly. Growth happens internally first. You become successful long before anyone sees it. You become capable long before anyone recognizes it. You become someone new long before the world applauds you. That is why success can only begin with self-belief. There is a moment in life when something shifts inside you. Maybe it's after a heartbreak. Maybe after someone doubted you. Maybe after a failure that shattered everything. Maybe after a dream fell apart. And suddenly, something inside whispers, I'm not done yet. That's not ego. That's not anger. That's not rebellion. That is belief beginning to wake up. Every great transformation begins with a decision. I'm capable of more. Maybe just a little. Maybe just a small step. Maybe just a tiny improvement. But that moment is the beginning of a new future. The decision to keep going is where resilience is born. And the decision to change is the first step of rebirth. This is the part that people forget. Self-belief is not just for you. When you believe in yourself, you inspire others, you help others grow, you show others that change is possible. Growth is contagious. Courage is contagious. Belief is contagious. The world is full of people waiting for permission to be themselves. Your growth might be the reason someone else doesn't give up. Your effort might be the spark someone else needed. Your transformation might be the proof someone was looking for. You never grow alone. When you rise, others rise with you. There are always two voices inside you. One voice says, you can't. You're not enough. You'll fail. That's the fixed mindset. That is the voice of fear. That is the voice of doubt. The other voice says, you can try. You can learn. You can grow. That is the growth mindset. That is the voice of potential. That is the voice of change. The question is, which voice are you feeding? Because whichever voice you feed becomes stronger. If you feed self-belief, confidence grows. If you feed fear, doubt grows. Your future depends on which voice you listen to. People misunderstand this part. Growth mindset is not positive thinking, manifesting success instantly, dreaming without effort. It is not saying, I believe I can fly. It is saying, I believe I can learn. That is the difference. Growth mindset is grounded in reality. It says, I may not know how, yet. Yet is a powerful word. It means, I'm not there today, but I can get there tomorrow. Growth mindset does not deny your weaknesses. Growth mindset acknowledges them, confronts them, and works on them. That's what makes it powerful. Everyone fails. Everyone falls. Everyone gets hurt. So how do you rebuild belief after failure? You do it with 3 small steps. Step 1. Separate the failure from your identity. Failing does not mean you are weak, you are incapable, you are unworthy. Failing simply means you tried, and trying means you are growing. Step 2. Take a lesson from the failure. Failure always contains information. Ask, what did I learn? What was missing? What can I change? Step 3. Move forward again. Not perfectly, not fearlessly, not confidently, just forward. Because taking the next step is the foundation of belief. Carol Dweck once introduced a concept called the power of not yet. Instead of saying, I can't do this, say, I can't do this yet. That one word changes everything. Not yet means you are on a path, you are improving, you are in progress. Progress is not a destination. Progress is a direction. And when you embrace not yet, you become unstoppable. Most people set goals like, I want to lose weight, I want to make money, I want to get better. But growth mindset doesn't begin with goals. It begins with identity. Who do I want to become? Identity drives behavior. Behavior creates results. Results reinforce identity. This is the loop that creates transformation. You don't succeed by forcing change. You succeed by becoming the kind of person who changes. That is self-belief. Some people stay the same for 5 years. Others reinvent themselves every year. The difference is not intelligence, it is not talent, it is willingness. People who grow are not afraid to evolve. They are not afraid to challenge who they were. You don't have to be who you were yesterday. You don't have to stay the same. You can reinvent your story. You can rewrite your life. You can evolve. The world will not give you permission for that. You must give it to yourself. Self-belief is not just about believing in your strengths. It is also about believing your weaknesses can change. It takes courage to look at yourself and say, I deserve better. I can do better. I will become better. It takes courage to break your patterns. It takes courage to challenge your thoughts. It takes courage to rise above your limitations. But the greatest courage is this: the courage to see yourself differently than you used to. That is how change begins. Every human being is living a story, and the story you tell yourself decides everything. What you attempt, what you avoid, what you pursue, how you react, how you improve. A fixed mindset story is, I can't. A growth mindset story is, I'm learning. The story you tell yourself becomes your reality. So here is the most important question. What is your story? Is it limiting you? Or is it liberating you? Because your story is not written in stone. You can change the narrative. You can change your identity. You can change your future. People believe growth must be big and dramatic, but growth often starts small. A small habit, a small improvement, a small effort, a small step. You don't need to transform your entire life overnight. Just take one action today, because one action leads to another. Self-belief is not built in a moment. Self-belief is built in repeated tiny decisions. To show up, to try, to persist, to improve. Grow 1% each day, and your life becomes unrecognizable. Here is what most people never understand. Change is not comfortable. Change is not convenient. Change is not predictable. Change stretches you. Change challenges you. Change breaks old patterns. And change is messy. It doesn't look like success at first. It looks like confusion. It looks like effort. It looks like struggle. But there is beauty in the struggle, because the struggle means you are growing. Comfort is the enemy of growth. Convenience is the enemy of evolution. If you want to become someone new, you must be willing to let go of the old. This is the most hopeful part of all. Self-belief is not something you're born with. Self-belief is something you can build, like a muscle, like a habit, like a discipline. You build self-belief by showing up, taking action, learning, improving. You build it through repetition. You build it through persistence. You build it through growth. And every time you do something difficult, you send yourself the message, I am capable. Self-belief is a skill, and skills can be learned. The real secret to growth is not just talent or hard work. It is willingness to experiment, to risk failure, to be uncomfortable, to evolve. Growth mindset does not protect you from fear. It invites you to walk with fear. It invites you to move forward anyway. It invites you to embrace possibility. The people who grow are not the strongest. They are not the smartest. They are not the most confident. They are simply the ones who believe they can improve. Now we come to the most powerful moment of this entire message. There is something in your life right now, a dream, a skill, a goal, a transformation, a change that you have delayed, avoided, or doubted. Not because you are incapable, not because you are unworthy, not because you are weak, but because somewhere deep down, you questioned whether you could grow. So here is the challenge. Not to be fearless, not to be perfect, not to magically succeed. The challenge is simply this. Believe in the possibility of becoming more. Believe you can learn. Believe you can improve. Believe you can grow. Give yourself permission to try. Even if you fail, even if it takes time, even if you struggle. Just take the next step, because every great story begins with one thing, self-belief. There are two paths in life, the path of limitation and the path of growth. One says, this is who I am. The other says, this is who I can become. One leads to stagnation, the other leads to transformation. And the difference between the two is not fate or destiny, it is belief. Greatness does not begin in the world. Greatness begins in the mind, not with skill, not with resources, not with talent, but with a single internal decision. I believe I can grow. So today, choose belief, choose growth, choose courage, choose possibility. Because your mindset is your greatest power. And your future begins with the belief that you can become more. That is why a growth mindset always starts with self-belief. And the world is waiting for the person you have yet to become.